not, my fellow Board of Counselor members, faculty, staff, and students of the USC Price School, congratulations to all of today's graduates and the parents, friends, instructors, and mentors that helped each of those graduating achieve their success. This is a great day for a celebration of all of your hard work and sacrifices, and it's an honor for me to speak to you. Frankly, it seems like just a moment ago, I was sitting where all of you are, never imagining that I would be on this side of the podium someday. This graduation is simply one stop for each of you on your life journey. It's a moment to reflect on the past, celebrate the day, and begin the next chapter in your life. Preparing for these remarks gave me an interesting opportunity to reflect on my own journey, the good and the not so good decisions that I made, and the important lessons I learned along the way. As a fellow graduate of the Price School, I have been blessed to find success doing what I absolutely love, real estate and development. It's my job, hobby, and passion. And the Price School gave me the skills to achieve more than I ever dreamed possible in this field. But my journey was not a straight line. I'm someone who made a major career pivot in my life. I took time off to raise a family. I returned to a completely different job. I went back to school in my 30s, and I had to power through barriers to fulfill my dreams. None of this was easy, but it was all worthwhile because I believe that I ended up exactly where I belong. Reflecting on the highs and the lows, I realized there were a number of key lessons that I learned along my path that allowed me to learn, reflect, course correct when I needed to, and ultimately live a healthy and balanced life. I'm happy to share some of those lessons with you today in hopes that they may help you on your exciting path. If you take away nothing else from what I have to say today, please hear this. In your life, it's important to make things happen and not simply let things happen. Too many people allow their life to pass them by as they react to things that happen to them, wondering what went wrong or how they ended up where they find themselves. I encourage each one of you to avoid that trap. Be intentional with your life and your career. Decide where you want to be in 5 years, 10 years, 30 years, and take the time to figure out what you need to do to achieve those milestones. Develop a set of guiding principles for what you want to do with your life, both personally and professionally. Even more importantly, spend time deciding who you want to be as much as what you want to be. Do you want to be seen as someone who is fair and honest, transparent, and committed? If so, every decision that you make, every action that you take needs to be consistent with those core values. What are your goals for your career? Maybe make enough money to pay off your student loans? I recommend that one. How about shaping the world in which we live? Leaving the planet a better place than you found it? Think about your goals, plan them out, and consciously stay on the path to make them happen, while allowing yourself to evolve as you grow and learn as a person. Oprah has this great line, and it's become a staple in my life. When you know better, you do better. Don't be afraid to embrace the kind of lifelong learning that will allow you to be a better person. When I graduated from school, I had guiding principles that were very simple. I wanted a secure job that would allow me to consistently put food on the table for my family. I wanted to do the right thing for the right reasons and not compromise the person I was raised to be. I also wanted to help others. I was drawn to the practice of law solely for that reason. As I got older, I evolved, and my guiding principles evolved. I wanted to have a family and find the kind of work-life balance that worked for us. I wanted to be a lifelong learner who wasn't afraid to take big chances. And I wanted to leave the world a better place than I found it by dedicating myself to companies that aligned with my core values. Articulating these principles and allowing them to guide me enabled me to make some hard decisions. Leaving the practice of law, a profession many consider the pinnacle of professional accomplishment. It wasn't the right job for me at that time. I didn't love it, and I was sacrificing too much for it. Staying home with my children a good chunk of the time when they were young, because that was right for me at that moment in time. Later, pursuing an additional education while working full-time and taking a job at a nonprofit where I felt like I was able to make a difference. And then, taking the biggest leap of my life, leaving my comfortable job, my known community, my dear friends, to follow my gut and join Apple, a needle in the haystack, a company that shared all of my core values, that gave me the opportunity to do things, to master things that I never imagined myself doing. In your life, you will have many turning points. Opportunities will come and go, and you will be faced with hard decisions, decisions that may force you to question who you are and what you stand for. Look in the mirror long before those situations arise and decide who you want to be. Be intentional and allow your guiding principles to direct you to the career you want to pursue and to the person you want to be. Second, lead a life in service to others. That may sound like an odd one. I'm sure you're probably thinking we cannot all go into public service. That's not what I'm suggesting. What I mean is check your self-interest and your ego at the door, whatever your job may be. Whether you are a real estate developer, a city planner, a policy advisor, or an elected official, perform that job in service to the people, the company, and the community you have chosen to serve. Like many jobs, mine requires me to make hard calls every day. Every tough decision I make starts with a thought process that begins with a question. What's in the best interest of Apple, my employer? And that question is followed up by a rapid success of other questions that are just as important. What's in the best interest of the internal customers that I serve? And what's in the best interest of the team that I lead, who I also have a duty to serve? I live focused on service to others, and I get the most amazing results and satisfaction by doing things for others. Seeing my team accomplish the impossible, seeing my mentees and my employees reach for the stars, and providing employees at Apple with insanely great facilities and services so they're enabled to do their life's best work. Albert Einstein said, "Only a life lived in the service of others is worth living." I couldn't agree more. You will get much more satisfaction out of your life if you're not just living for yourself, but finding purpose and meaning beyond yourself. Along this line of thinking, you will always be well served if you set out to try and help people and lift them up when you can. If someone asks you for a reference and you have something nice to say, take the time to say it. If someone in your field wants to talk a problem through with you because they value your opinion or it's something you have experience handling, take a moment and help them. If someone you know needs a pep talk, take time to lift them up and remind them of all they are capable of doing. As a result, you will have an amazing network of people who will do the same thing for you. Over a decade ago, I got a call from the then head of real estate at Disney. He needed a reference on a job candidate that I had actually worked with here at USC. I called him back and I gave him a positive reference, and we chatted a bit about similar challenges we were experiencing with a local contractor. A few years later, he called me about another contractor, and a few years after that, I called him about a similar issue. We were colleagues who had literally never met each other in person, but we were supporting each other. In 2013, he was recruited to lead Apple's global real estate and development team. But he wanted to move back east to be near his family, so he took a different job. When he was asked if he knew of anyone who might be a good fit for Apple, he suggested me. As a result, I was recruited to Apple, a job and a company to which I would have never dreamed of applying. Thank you. Help people as often as you can. You never know where it will lead. Be the person who extends themselves to others. Mentor the next generation. And when you break down barriers, hold the door open for the next person. Live in service to others, and others will be there for you. Lastly, be brave, believe in yourself, and never stop reaching. All of you had to work so hard to get to this point in your life. Some of you had to overcome what seemed like insurmountable barriers to get here. Whether you're the first in your family to go to college, or you had no money for tuition and room and board, or you suffered some setbacks or tragedies in your life that left you wondering if you could ever achieve your dreams. You did it. You are here today, and you should all be very proud of yourselves. I would love to tell you that it gets easier from this point on, but in many ways, it does not. Sure, there's no more crazy pop quizzes or papers to write or exams where you are being asked questions about topics you are convinced were never taught. The challenges and problems you will face from this point forward are no longer theoretical. It is now up to you to change the world for the better, one day at a time. That is a huge responsibility. And to accomplish it, you have to persevere and believe in yourself, especially when no one else does. There will be times when you will be the weakest link in your company, and other times where you will be the strongest. You just have to keep taking feedback, learning and evolving, and never give up, even when others tell you to give up. At one point in my career, I tried to apply for a position to lead construction at a company that had a significant capital program. I was told by a senior leader of the company that they would not consider me for the position despite being impressed with my skills, because the board was not comfortable with a woman in that role. I can honestly say I never felt more demoralized in my life, but I had a choice to make. I could accept as a core truth in my life that boards of companies do not want women leading construction teams, or I could reject that viewpoint entirely and go on to lead the construction team at one of the greatest companies of our time. I chose the latter, and I would encourage all of you to reject society's preconceived notions of who you are and pursue your dreams unabashedly. To get to this point, you have all demonstrated brilliance, resilience, and determination. I'm telling you today, don't ever let go of that. Don't ever stop reaching, and don't let anyone tell you that you cannot accomplish something that you want to accomplish, because you can if you're willing to work hard enough. As your journey continues forward from this day of celebration, I hope each one of you achieves and then exceeds your personal vision of success and happiness. The Price School has given each one of you the skills you need. Now it's up to you to make things happen and not simply let things happen, to live a life in service to others, and above all, to be brave, believe in yourself, and never stop reaching. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to share this day with each of you. You are now joining the alumni branch of the Trojan family, and I am personally proud to welcome each one of you. Thank you, and fight on.